sheriff, the head sheriff was there. The mayor was there. Like different councilmen came, they spoke, different people talked. Like a lot of his friends would come and sing, and I'm like, when I saw that, that's when I realized, like, okay, like I'm super young, so I don't have money.
Yeah.
But I do have my gift.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Baron J, and I am the host of the Giving While Black podcast. We're here to uplift, amplify, and celebrate. And today we have a young man here that we want to celebrate, doing tremendous things in his community. He is an entrepreneur, a songwriter, producer, podcast host, and a lot more. And we're going to get into some of those things. Rojay, welcome to the show, man. How you doing today?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fantastic. I'm always glad to see young brothers come on the show doing their thing, man. It just makes me happy.
Yes, sir. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Tell us a little bit about yourself and some of the things that you're doing currently.
Born in Wilson, North Carolina.
The big city of Wilson?
Yeah, yeah. They call it wide awake.
Wide awake.
We say it's wide asleep. Born in Wilson, lived there for a couple of years. Most of my years raised in Goldsboro. Mom's side of the family, musical. Dad's side of the family, musical. So both sides, family groups like gospel quartets. My mom, her sisters, her brothers were in a group. My dad, his childhood friends. So I was raised around music all of my life. Being in rehearsals, whether I wanted to be there or not.
Yeah.
Falling asleep while they're rehearsing, they pick me and my brother up, sleep, take us home, that type of thing. Church background, grew up in church. Later on in life, we moved to Rocky Mount when I was in high school. So in that process, that's when I began to kind of like, I'm gonna go back. 3 years old, my dad tells me this story all the time. They discovered that I had rhythm. So that's when I like, yes. At 3, okay. They discovered that I had rhythm, and I started playing the drums then.
Wow.
And as I got older, my mom tells me later on in life, so I'm gonna break it down. With my mom's side of the family, they had a family group where they all played instruments. Okay. Like my mom played drums, my aunt played the keyboard. As they grew, my uncles were older, they started playing.
Okay.
After that, my mom tells me that they always had a band, they always had singers, but they never had a stable keyboard player. It was always somebody that they hired to come in, but they never lasted. And my mom tells me that when I was born, my granddad, her father, touched my hands and said, "That's all right, little man." They call me Man Maul. Our keyboard player. And sure enough, once I got in middle school, I started playing.
Wow. So that gift, you know, there's a scripture in the Bible that I love, and when it talks about before you were formed in the belly, God knew you.
Yes, man.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Absolutely.
And so those gifts and talents, even before you came, had been formed.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. That's good stuff. So on your mom's side, you got all these musicians. So what instruments besides the keyboard did you learn how to play?
So drums was first.
Okay.
And keyboard was second. And then I can play the bass guitar a little bit.
Okay.
And then of course I sing too, because they all sing.
Yeah. I mean, do they sing or do they sing? I mean,
they sing. Yeah. On both sides of my family, both my father and my mother, their fathers, both of my granddads, were really known in their communities for being amazing singers and amazing musicians.
Yeah.
So my dad's family is the family from Wilson, and my mom's family is the family from Goldsboro. So, and that's how my mom and dad actually met, through them singing on different concerts together.
Oh, very nice. So you come from this musical family. So that's what you were born into, and you're keeping the tradition going. As you know, as a younger person, this thing's a lot different now than back in the day. How are you using some of these new things, technology-wise and podcasts, to kind of help your family continue this tradition of music?
One of the biggest things that I tried to do once I got in like high school, the end of 8th grade, the beginning of 9th grade, I got to go back again. So in the time between 6th and 7th grade, I had an opportunity to become a part of a band at a very prominent church in Wilson.
Okay.
It was at this church that I kind of developed. And before that, my whole life was like traditional gospel quartet. That's all I really knew. Okay. When I was introduced to this church, that's when like other styles of gospel and musicianship and different stuff like that happened. So I was already privy to like people doing recordings and people doing live recordings. And I didn't know the term music producer.
Yeah.
But I knew that like I never liked to do the songs the original way. I always wanted to arrange something or change something, or like, let's try this or let's do this. And it wasn't until later that I learned the terminology.
Yeah.
But around 13 years old, 14 years old, a close family friend who became my stepdad later on let me borrow a keyboard of his. And that was the first time I connected technology to music production, because in this keyboard there was a 16-track sequencer.
Okay.
So it would allow me to create my own songs and save them to a disc.
Yeah.
So that was my first introduction to technology in the music space. Later on, once I started playing at that church in Wilson, I would hear different albums, like choir albums and stuff, and I would always notice, like, before the music started, there would always be like some kind of drum machine playing, whether it's a 3-bar, 4-bar, 8-bar loop.
Yeah.
The music would come in and I'm like, well, what's that thing? Like, I hear this sound, I hear these drums, what's that? I later on learned that it was an MPC made by Akai. So I took my, it was $1,000. And I was making $200 a week at church as a 14-year-old, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna save my money every week and I'm gonna get the MPC. So I purchased that and we implemented that into our bands. Like, hey, this is like another band member.
Yeah.
And we would practice with it, we would grow. And during that time, that's when I started to realize the passion that I had for like music production and music directing. I didn't know the terms.
Yeah.
I just was doing the work and learned later on, like, hey, that's the role of a music producer, or that's what a music director does. Like, and once I understood that that's what I was doing, that's when the passion to take it further kind of came about during that.
Yeah, man, that's so good. I mean, this show, Rojay, is about philanthropy and giving back, and how we can take generational gifts and pass it on to our children, right? I call it living your legacy. And so your parents really created a legacy that they're passing on to you, right? And it's really powerful because this is something you'll be able to also teach your children. And so when I talk about philanthropy, I'm talking about time, talent, and treasure, but also how do we continue to keep this gift that we have? So legacy gifts, this is how you can pass something on, either through monetary, right? Or by information, right? And they passed on information to you. So tell me, when did you start hearing about giving back? I know you're pretty tight with your family. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, the first time I learned about giving back was through this church in Wilson.
Okay.
So it was a popular church. The pastor had a choir. It was myself. I'm gonna name everybody. So in the band was the pastor's son. His name is Ricky, but we call him Tank.
Okay.
At this time, Tank is maybe 16, 17 years old. And then there's Greg Cox, there's Demetrius McCrae, there's Chris Stevenson, there's Jamario Artist, there's Brandon, and there's all these different Ashley, Roderick. These are all children.
Yeah.
Between the ages of 17, the oldest, like 12 or 13, me, the youngest. So when we first got there, it was a thing like, hey, these are children. We don't even know if they have the capability to really do what adults do musically. Like, do they have the stamina? Do they have the patience? Do they have the mind? So the first instance of giving back that I saw was when the pastor of that church, his name is Reverend Ricky Daltrich Sr. He opened his doors to us.
Yeah.
Spent time with us, like rehearsals. Like we would sit in a circle together and we would just like go over music, and he would be there with us for hours.
And he wasn't getting paid.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He's just giving his time. He's like, hey, y'all should listen to these albums. Y'all should listen to these records. Y'all should go here. Y'all should do this. Let's check out this. We would rehearse twice a week.
Yeah.
And then every weekend we would go there because we were out of school.
Yeah.
All summer we would be there. And the first instance that I actually saw the community impact of a church through Reverend Daltrich was when he told us, like, okay, guys, y'all are ready to go to the next level with the choir.
Yeah.
But soon we're doing this community event called the Block Party.
Okay.
In the city, he would do a block party and he would have different groups come.
Yeah.
Would have like different people come, and like the volunteers from the church would like cook on the grill and stuff like that. And he would just like give the food away.
Yeah.
Like nothing cost. Like we'll have the bouncy houses out for the children. And we just want to have a day where we use our gifts and talents to give back to the community. And like the parking lot would be swarming with people. Wow. And I'm like, it was the first time I ever seen
giving back like that.
Yeah, it's like sheriff, the head sheriff was there, the mayor was there, like different councilmen came, they spoke, different people talked, like a lot of his friends would come and sing. And I'm like, when I saw that, that's when I realized, like, okay, like I'm super young, so I don't have money.
Yeah.
But I do have my gift.
Yeah.
And it's like, where I am right now in my life, after seeing this, I want to use my gift to give to others, whether that be through, as I got older, whether that be through mentorship, or whether that be through just hiring younger people at my church and teaching them the ropes, or starting the podcast to create an opportunity for other people to tell their stories. These are the type of things that I can do right now and did back then to give back.
Yeah. So it sounds like, Rojay, that's something that's important to you. Something you enjoy doing it. And it's so powerful when we can see something, right? and we can emulate those things that we see. So I know you were a young kid around 13, 14 when you kind of saw that. When did you kind of start seeing yourself as a philanthropist?
It actually it didn't happen until like recently.
Okay.
Honestly, when I started the podcast that I started, it's been about a year now.
Okay.
And I was like, hey, I want to create a platform that's based on me creating an opportunity for other people.
Yeah.
With the hopes to build the platform in a way where it does create monetary gain, and then I'm able to start a foundation or something. Like, so recently, I'm 32 now.
Yeah.
So in the last 2-3 years, my mind has been like, okay, I want to start this entertainment company with different tiers. I want to have a tier that creates opportunities for musicians and singers. And then I want to have like this charity type of portion, whether I create the platform myself or whether I give to schools for music programs to be able to sow into kids who, like, I'm from a small town, like Goldsboro, Wilson, Rocky Mount. These are small towns, but there are a lot of talented people that never have the exposure or the opportunity to do music on a larger scale because they don't have the funds to do so. So these are things that I've been thinking about recently.
Yeah, that's good stuff, because being able to because we know that young people love sports and music, our young people, right? And if we can pass down, that kind of gift, using our own talents to help them, and because it's all about, it's the skill is part of it, also the confidence, in being able to understand that you can make an impact, with your gifts. We were at a concert a couple of weeks ago with a lady named Kimberly Michelle. I don't know if you heard her before, but she's a violinist. And she talks about when she was probably 6 or 7 picking up the violin, she had her first live concert. And man, people came from all over the place, and it was fantastic. Not only she's a great violinist, but she's also a worship leader. And it was just phenomenal, man, just to see somebody who started so early, but it took her a while to develop the confidence, even though people were saying like, Michelle, you're awesome, you're really great, but it's how we see ourselves too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And once they develop that skill, that confidence comes. Speak to that a little bit. When do you start kind of getting your confidence? You was like, man, I got this. I know what I'm doing. I know how to do
this. It goes back to that church in Wilson, like having those rehearsals, and then like when we weren't playing, like Reverend Daltrich would talk to us about how people can feel what we're playing. Always be confident in what you're playing, because you're impacting people. Us coming in here in the woodshed, as he would say, this is the place where we sharpen our skills and our craft so that we can get to the place where we're sure. And as I got older, I realized that, hey, my confidence comes from knowing that God has given me this gift. This is a gift that I didn't ask for. It was given to me. And I want to steward it well, and I want to represent God in a way that is pleasing to him. And the only way that I can do that is to stand boldly with whatever he's given me. So different people have come along and just like poured wisdom and knowledge into me that helped me to say, okay, I get it, I got it, I'm good.
I like to call it confidence, right?
Yeah, man.
That's it. So when we think about the word philanthropy, man, that's a big word, and a lot of times we don't see ourselves that way. Just because when we think about philanthropists, we think about the Bill Gates of the world, maybe the Oprah Winfrey's, the Jeff Bezos, all these people who have tons of money. So when you hear the word philanthropist, what do you think about? What does it make you think about?
I think about giving.
Yeah.
And I've learned, like, because I used to get frustrated. This is crazy because I haven't talked about this.
Yeah.
I used to get frustrated when I would get certain opportunities growing up and even recently, because I've always wanted to be in a financial place to be a blessing to people.
Yeah.
Right. So I used to get frustrated because I'm like, when I charge to produce, these artists don't have but so much money, so I can't spend or pay but for so much when I hire people.
Right.
So I used to get frustrated because I only thought about giving back through money until, like, my wife would talk to me like, hey, do you understand your influence?
Yeah.
Like, people will call me and say, I did this because of you. Or people will ask me, like, how do you do this? Or how do you do this? Or how do you do this? And it's like, giving is what it's all about. And then I think as we give what we have on the level we're on, eventually we'll go to another level and it'll be whatever it needs to be for that level.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, so philanthropy for me is giving.
Yeah.
And I'm just starting to become content with what I'm able to give right now in the space and place that I am in life.
Yeah. And that's a perfect segue for me to say to you, Rojay, you are a philanthropist, and I want you to say it. I want you to say, I am a philanthropist.
I am a philanthropist.
That's powerful, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it's powerful when we know we have the ability, we have the capability, and our resource that we have, time, we can give it, right? And so it's time, talent, and treasure, as I said, and we don't have to have a lot of money. I mean, I can tell you stories of when I've given people a roll of quarters, like $10, and they break down crying, right? And I said, why? I'm thinking like it's just $10. And they said, I don't have any money. I just put my last 10 quarters washing clothes,
Yeah.
And so there's so many powerful stories that we have to tell because we've always been philanthropists. We've always been givers.
Yeah.
It's gotten away from it. And part of this podcast is to help remind us that, hey, giving is who we are. Philanthropy is historically what we've always done. Now we just need to walk back into that space on a regular basis.
Yes, sir, absolutely.
Yeah. So what is some of the misconceptions you think people have about philanthropy?
That you can't be one until you're a millionaire.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things. Like, every time I've ever seen people like do great acts of service, it's been like on TV. Somebody's famous with a lot of money and they give $100,000 to whatever.
Yeah.
That's one I think the biggest misconception is you have to be rich, quote unquote, or you can do it.
Yeah. And I'm a philanthropic coach, man. I help people align their money, their donations with their deepest values. And one thing, because I get to I've worked with very wealthy people before, and sometimes people have a misconception that just because they have money, they give it away. Uncle Sam requires you to give money away, but sometimes people don't have the heart to give it away. They do it out of necessity, not because what philanthropy means, the love of mankind, right? And so I know people who's like, I got money, but I don't really care about that. I don't really care about helping people. I don't care about giving back. And so it's important, man, for people to realize just because you have money or you don't, it doesn't make you want to give. So it has to be something in your heart, right, that make you desire to give back to others.
Yes. I've been a giver all my life.
Yeah.
Like I'll do stuff like I've had different friends. Like I'll give you an example. I have a friend that some years ago started a vocal coaching business.
Yeah.
She started like selling teas and stuff like that. But when she first told me she was going to start the business, she was like, yeah, I'm about to do this. I really need a laptop.
Yeah.
And we were with her. We were at her apartment, my wife and I'm like, I pulled my wife to the side and I'm like, she can have the laptop that we brought with us.
Yeah.
Or I can be with someone and they say, hey man, I'm starting this thing over here and I need this.
Yeah.
Even if it's my last, I'll give it to them and get another one. Like I've done that my whole life. It's so natural because I'm like, hey man, I want to see people win.
Yeah.
And if I have anything that could help them get to whatever place in life they're trying to get, they can have it.
Yeah.
It brings me joy to see people doing their thing. Like if I can contribute to that in any way, I'm always down to do it.
Yeah. Well, I feel you on that, bro, because I'm the same way, but it's so good to hear other people express that because it's so important. And man, I celebrate you, Rojay, and all the things that you're doing. You're helping the next generation of musicians and producers, songwriters, and all of that. So man, we celebrate you today, and hopefully you'll take your time away just more energized, to give back to others, man. But before we let you go, man, we have these 7 rapid fire questions.
Okay.
It's a little hot seat, but I think you got it. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. So the first one is, you got 2 minutes to answer the questions. All right. Okay. So the question is, how much money does it take to be a philanthropist?
$0.
What is your proudest moment as a philanthropist?
Seeing a person get to another level from what you gave them.
Okay. And what is the hardest thing you've ever given away?
A laptop.
A laptop. What is the best gift you have ever received?
Mentorship.
Okay. I love that. What is the best thing you like about being a philanthropist yourself?
Seeing people win.
Seeing people win. And if you had this kind of dream philanthropic gift, what would it be?
To create a facility that allow young people to have opportunity.
Yeah.
Build a facility to have for young people to have opportunity.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And when you get ready for that, you got to find me so we can invest in.
Absolutely.
And what is your favorite charity and why?
At the moment, I don't have one.
Okay.
And that'll be something you have to school me on.
Yeah.
Because I don't have one.
Well, I know a good one. It's called the BK Damon Foundation.
Let's go.
Let's go. It's our foundation. My wife and I started. Man, we provide scholarships and business grants to young people. Been doing that for a number of years. Man, we help missionaries, support missionaries, do missionaries work all around the country and the world. And we have a youth development program as well. So BK Damon Foundation, man, is always a good investment. You put money into that, those grounds, I guarantee those seeds are growing up every single day. But man, you did it, man. Within 2 minutes, you killed it. You knocked it out.
Some of it was tough, but
I know when they're not hard questions, but when you answer them, you're like, oh, let me think about this. I normally play Kirk Franklin's song, "Bless Me," because I love that song, man, at the end of the podcast, because he said, bless me, not just for me, but so I can help others, you know?
That's for me. My wife and I talk about it all the time. It's like, it is our desire to be wealthy,
Yeah.
to have the resources to give. That's literally why we want to be wealthy. And we talk about it all the time, like, we could do so more for so many more people. Resources. So yeah.
But man, I want to take this moment again to celebrate you, but also, man, celebrate. I know you this man's name before. I don't know him. Shared me to him yesterday. Passed away. William Bear Smith. Are you familiar with him? Yeah, she said he was homeless, but he was intentionally homeless.
Wow.
Yeah, he wanted to be homeless. He was known in the community to help people. She said, you know, she would be at the gas station, he would pump gas, or he would help, be at the grocery store helping people bring the groceries, putting them in their car. And you can go on now and hear all wonderful stories about William Earl Bear Smith. We celebrate his life, untraditional. Wanted to, he remained homeless, but he had members.
Yeah.
Him who he interacted, but this is the life he chose. But even if it was powerful to me, he was still a focus, and he was still his time. So celebrate Mr. William Earl Smith and his connections to his community in Rocky Mount. So out to Mr. So thank you, man, for being on the show. Do you have remarks that you wanted to say before we show?
It's good to give.
Yeah.
There's no feeling of giving. It really.
Yeah.
So,
well, I agree, and we want to, man, to thank you only for your time today. Thank you for art. Thank you for your mindset back to others. I know you're going to continue to produce music and write songs, and we're expecting great things. Continue to do what you do. And we are here to uplift, amplify, and celebrate people of color and Black people who are doing extraordinary, ordinary things in their community that's also very powerful. So thank you for listening to this episode, and we'll be back the next time with someone else that we're celebrating, just like Rojay Lewis. Thank you.